I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take.
The argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument against
that's a legitimate criticism. Because, I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
Say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify as like a communist or socialist or any of this stuff. Probably like a why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing, you can't do. Is, first of all, not what I'm talking about. Second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job.
That nature, you refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Constitution at the Supreme Court level actually.
No, but my man just is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are.
Well, there are examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm talking about two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it,
Including with little blonde hair. Yeah, that's what your mom said last night too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Mater Nation. I am Sarah the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live. Captain Tazaryach once again is back for more. He's not done yet. He's ready to come over and take on all of you panelists, maters, everyone. We're going to just go crazy tonight. I have a feeling. Do you have a feeling? I got a feeling.
Yes, I have a feeling that like it's going to be cool when you and I talk and I get to get all the information out, but I think that it's going to be on fire. And that's why I picked, the top. I think I gave you 3 options, and I think when you saw that option about the raise, you said that's
I love it. That's the one. You always pick the best.
Yeah, I try to do what I think will bring people, like it's a frenetic type. I always try to pick, like we was talking earlier about the whole Jesus is God. That's a frenetic subject.
Yep.
This is another frenetic type of subject because the concept that we have of God is the opposite of what I'm saying. And it's almost like a shock and awe thing. It's like, how dare he say God is a racist? But when we read the Bible, I would just have some questions for people to tell me, does this make him a racist? Does he have favoritism? So, that's what, we'll see. I think the favoritism, whether other races admit it or not, we're all racist to a certain extent. It's just how you express the racism, which would make it different.
Well, so, now you're saying everyone's a racist.
That at the core, I think everybody would want their race to be the best, right? I think an East Indian would want East.
Well, I mean, I guess you would have tribalism. You could roll with the idea of tribalism. I don't think that necessarily means racism, but I think you could very much say everyone has a common core of tribalism, even down to your own family. For instance, if there were 2 children dangling from a cliff and it was your child and my child, I'm probably going to put a little more extra effort into getting my kid up first before yours, right? And that's my baby. That's my tribalism at its finest, because we don't want to lose our legacy. We don't want to lose our core unit. So you could roll with tribalism. I don't know. I think racism's a heavy stem. Let's do this. Give me your definition of.
I was actually going to look it up online. So racism, and then I'll give a definition. So I want to read when I look it up online, it says racism, the belief that certain human races are naturally superior or inferior to others. It leads to prejudice, discrimination, and hate against people because of their skin, color, race, or ethnic background.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says key forms of racism, interpersonal bias, verbal abuse or mean actions between individuals, institutional, unfair rules or practices inside school, jobs, organizations that hurt certain racial groups, structural, large societal systems and public policies that keep racial inequality going across many areas of life. Now, where I would separate that definition, because when I look at how they break it down, I look at that as systematic racism. So when you was talking about that,
that sounds more like maybe I would say there's like a prejudice in there.
mm-hmm.
If it's systematic and there's things that affect, you could be a racist but not actually hold prejudice, right?
Right. I'm glad you said that, because that's where the most hot, that's the difference between God's racism and, let's say, humans' racism. And the reason why I use the term systematic, because when it was saying different things like bias, verbal abuse, mean actions, like God's racism doesn't make him be biased against anybody. Verbal abuse or mean actions. God racism doesn't have unfair rules or practices in any structure. God's racism is just as simple as he chose the nation of Israel. So I'm gonna read this verse. This is so people can't say I'm not using the Bible. So this is Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. It says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God." Most people, whenever I ask people what the word holy means, it's usually some type of magical spiritual connection to God. But the word holy at its root just means separate. So when he says you're a holy people, he's saying you're a separate people. It says, "Unto the Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." So now God is saying that the nation of Israel is above. So that's why when you read that first definition, when it says a belief that certain human races are naturally superior or inferior. So for an Israelite like myself, I don't think that I'm above other people because of me. I think I'm above other people because God said the Israelites are. So I couldn't be, you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
So I couldn't be racist if God didn't say he put us above all people. If God said we were equal, we were the same, I would have to say whatever God says. But if God says we're above all people upon the face of the earth, who am I to argue with that?
Does that make it racism because he says, okay, these are my people, I like these people, these are special people, right? Or does that fall back under the definition or like the terminology that I gave, where it sounds more like tribalism, like these are his chosen people, like I guess you could say children of God per se. So he, like another parent, would say my children are the best children,
right?
You know, so would it be racism or would it be tribalism?
Think about it like this. We would all believe that God created the human race, right? So technically, if we go by the tribalism point, they would all be his tribe. But out of all the human races that he created, he isolated one, possessed them, and made them above. So now if an Israelite goes to an Ishmaelite or a Moabite or Edomite and says, God made me above you, then they wouldn't see that as anything except race. Like, what makes you special? Like, what makes you special that God made you superior to me? Because that's essentially what it's saying. If God says, I made you above all people, that is superior. So when I look at, when I keep reading the Bible, it says the Lord did not set his love upon you nor choose you because you were more number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. So now we're not even the most of all people. We're the fewest of all people. It says, but because the Lord loved you and because he would keep his oath that he sworn to your fathers, the Lord had brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you. So it's about the covenant that he made with Abraham. So we're the least of all people, but we're superior to all people. So when
sorry.
No, you got it.
So, all right. So this was based off of a promise. So it's I wouldn't even say it's racism. It's like, hey, I keep my word that the children of like the Abraham legacy, right? I owe you something and therefore I will keep my promise to you. So it's not even I'm doing this because of of I'm not doing this because of you're just a special kind of people. I'm doing this because I promised your people that I would do this.
It's a little deeper than that because it was his divine order. Because so when we read verses like Romans the 9th chapter, and I like this because it's in the New Testament, because some people would say like that's old. So in Romans 9 and 7, I'm sorry, Romans 9 and 11. Now it's talking about Jacob and Esau. Jacob is who became the Israelites. It says, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So at this junction, Paul is reminding people that Israel wasn't even born yet. So there was nothing good that he could have done. Esau wasn't even born yet. It wasn't nothing good that he could have done. But the purpose of God, God created a race to love, and he created a race to hate. Because and as I keep reading, it says, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So now that what was crazy about this is that he's basically that God is Paul is basically saying that God created a race to hate and a race to love. Before they was born, they was elected for that. And then the very next verse, Paul says, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid, because that would be a natural response. Like, damn, God created a race to hate. Is there unrighteousness? And then he goes on to say, he says, for he saith unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion, because that's what a God can do. God can, because he's the Most High God, he's all powerful. He can do whatever it is he wants. If he chooses to make a race for one purpose, he can do that. If he chooses to make a race for another purpose, he can do that. And we can't do nothing about it. And then the very next verse says, so then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth. Because when you hear that, you have people today that tells you God loves everybody, and they will run and they will try to force it down your throat that God loves everybody. But when we actually read the Bible, it does not translate that way.
What about what is it? For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Did he only give his only begotten son to just one people?
Yes. Because
really?
Yeah. Because what? Now and yeah, what you gonna say?
But isn't that's the verse, right? For God so loved the world.
One of my it's such one of my favorite scriptures, man. I've been looking in the sky when
but I mean, it didn't say for God so loved the Israelites, right? It says for God so loved the world. That's a really big gift to give up.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
I think it's bold. The verse itself is bold. And then it's also bold when somebody like myself says that's only talking about Israelites. So it's a bold statement across the board. So then it's like, well, Cap, if it says world, why are you saying that it's only Israel? So now that same word world, they would say is everybody. In the same book of John, chapter 17, verse 9, Jesus says, I pray for them, I pray not for the world. So now, when you read that verse, I always ask the people, I say, so if Christ says he doesn't pray for the world, that means he's not praying for nobody now, right? And then what they're going to say is, they're going to say, no, because that world is different. There's a context to that. And I'm going to agree with them. I'm going to say, yes, there is a context to the word world. And if there's a John 17:9, verse 9, yeah, make sure it's the King James version, because some versions change the wording.
Okay. During his high priestly prayer before his crucifixion, he was specifically focusing his prayer on his current disciples to protect, sanctify, and to unite them as he prepared to leave the world.
So yeah, so when you read that, and even at the breakdown that you just gave, they gave an understanding that them was his disciple. The world was everybody outside of that. So even they knew how to put a context on John 17 and 9. I'll give you one more. In the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 15, it says, love not the world, neither the things in the world. So now we have another usage of the word world.
Ooh, well, hold on. Love not the world, neither things in the world. Correct?
Right.
That to me is like, don't love stuff and things.
Yeah, it's like saying like if the world is, and it goes in detail. So like when you keep it doesn't stop there. So when it does let me just grab 1 John 2:15, it makes that statement. And then when it goes to 16, it says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life is not of the Father. So now it's telling you, so what it's letting us know is there's a world that we cannot live in. And if that world is lustful, we cannot live in that world. But it's also letting you know what the word world means. The word world is talking about ages or society. Like like the way we live in America, if we went to China, that world is different than the American world.
So you're talking society now.
Right. That's what John 3:16 is talking about. It's talking about the world of Israel. So now with the King James Version, I want you to go to Isaiah. This is in the Old Testament, and this is what Christ, this is the world Christ is talking about. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17, King James Version. I'm going to read it. It says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So Isaiah 45, Isaiah is prophesying that Israel is going to be saved, and that's the world that's going to be saved. So when I look at the word world, I don't look at it the way everybody else looks at it. The word world, if once someone makes the hard stance that the world means everybody, and then we read other texts with the word world, and we clearly know it doesn't mean everybody, you can't force me to accept that for John 3:16 too.
Is Israel a place or a people?
A people.
A people.
It's a people. Well, it is a place because there's a land of Israel.
Right.
But it's a people that would make up the land of Israel. So it's a people first, because when you say Israel, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So when you say you're an Israelite, you're saying you descend from Jacob.
Well, how do you decide what is Israel? Like, who is Israel?
So we don't go by complexion. Like most people, they would call us like,
but how would God define who Israel
by your father,
is?
By your father. Like if your father, if you're an Israelite, if your father is an ethnic Israelite, then you would be an Israelite. Like the Jewish community, or I'll say small hats because sometimes they get mad at that word. The small hats, they teach that you're a Jew by your mom, but that's not in the Bible. Even when the last debate that I had with that Jewish guy, even he agreed with me when we was on your platform that he also don't agree that you're a Jew by your mom, but that's what they teach in Judaism. But the Bible says you're a Jew by an Israelite, then you would be an Israelite, regardless of your complexion. Like you could be, like Mariah Carey has a black father, but most people would look at her and say that's a white woman. We would look at her and say that's a black woman, because most of us, we identify people with our eyes. So if their complexion looks white, we would say that they're white. Bob Marley, for example, that's a white man to us and his sons, because he has a white father. So even though he has a black mother and takes his black mother's hair, takes his black mother complexion, when we look at him, we see a white man. Lenny Kravitz, white man. So we don't just accept everybody that looks or appears to be.
God would define the Israelites based on the Abraham.
Yes, coming from
the children
Abraham,
of
Isaac,
Abraham.
and Jacob. Yes.
And is there another breaking point? Like, is there another group of people outside of Abraham that, like, generationally, like, legacy passed down? Like,
what?
Or is Abraham? Because doesn't that take us back to like Noah's Ark and all that stuff, and then whatever. But like, who is who?
So
yeah, go ahead.
So Abraham had. So when Noah, of course, the flood happens. Noah, his sons, they repopulate the earth. And so you got Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So you have people that would today be Hamites. Those are the modern day Africans. Japhites would be like the Hawaiians, the people from Fiji, Polynesians, Eskimos. And then you have the Shemites. The Shemites, white people, black people, Asians, Arabs, we all come from Shem. And so outside of Shem, Abraham is born. Let me say it. From Abraham's father Terah, that's where Abraham comes from. And then God makes a covenant with Abraham to tell him to leave his father's house. He leaves his father's house. God makes a covenant with him and Sarah. In the middle of making that covenant with Sarah, you like that part.
Listen, I love it when people talk about Abraham and Sarah because I'm like, hey, I'm special. We're little princesses, you know. It's biblical. We're God's princess, okay?
Lord. So when Abraham has Sarah, as Abraham and Sarah get that covenant, they also, Sarah gives Abraham a woman, Hagar. So Abraham has a son with Hagar named Ishmael. Now, Ishmael got a blessing. That's the modern day Arabs. That's why, like, the Muslims lay claim to Abraham. They have a term called Abrahamic faiths, the three of them. They call Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They call those the three Abrahamic faiths, which makes no sense at all. But when he had Ishmael, that's a physical son of Abraham, but that's not the son of promise. Then Isaac is born. That's the son of promise. When he has that son with Isaac and Sarah passes away, he has 6 other kids with another woman. So Abraham had a total of 8 sons, but only one of those sons is the child of promise. So God only considers Abraham to have one son, Isaac. Then Isaac has 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. And out of those 2 sons, Jacob got the covenant. So it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's how we get the promise. That's why Deuteronomy 7:8 says that he made us holy and above all nations because of the promise with Abraham. So without that promise with Abraham, or in a better way, whichever seed would have been born through Abraham, they were always going to be the promised superior seed above everybody. It just so happened they were Israelites.
This, you know what this sounds like to me?
What does it sound like?
It sounds kind of like a king's legacy being passed down. Right? Genealogy. I mean, we see this in other countries where if you are the child, you carry the name, you carry that legacy, and then you are automatically next in line, right? That's what that sounds like to me. Based on that promise, it almost says to me, we're just ensuring that this family lineage carries that, like, kingship in a sense. Does that, I don't know, does that sound right to you?
No, that sounds perfect, because the analogy that you gave can line up with it. So let's say he established that kingship. I'm gonna use your terminology. That kingship, we were supposed to keep it, but it came with conditions. The conditions is that we had to be obedient to that God. And the condition also said if we were disobedient to that God, we would get punished for it. So, good, I'm listening.
Okay, so if there is a condition, then you can't claim racism because it's holding you to a ruling with a condition. If you mess up, you go into the pile with everyone else. That wouldn't stay consistent with racism. If I was going to pull racism, there would be no conditions. It would be like, you can mess up all you want. It doesn't matter. You are still of this bloodline, and therefore you pass the test no matter what. But now you're saying that there are conditions that negates the entire concept of racism, right? For instance, and we'll take it back to your in today's society, right? If I was HR and I only hired white people because I only wanted white people, then you could very well call me a racist because I'm removing the condition of you being the best fit for the role, right? When there could have been a Black or an Asian or a Native American or whatever who might have been better. But if I'm like, you know what? I just want white people, right? I'm removing the condition of everything else and saying, if you're in this genealogy line, right, this race line, I just pass you through. You win no matter what. So what you're saying for this God thing, if he's saying, okay, listen, you're in the queue of awesomeness, you're in line for awesomeness, but if you mess up, you go out there with everyone else. You have placed now a condition outside of that lineage that puts you back in line with everyone else, with Gen Pop. Does that make sense?
It makes sense what you're saying, but it doesn't line up with everything. So I would never discredit that. That is excellent logic, but no one else was given the commandments to obey. Like when I read Amos 3:1, it says, hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. So now that verse says he only knows Israel. So he doesn't know Edomites, Moabites, Jebusites, or anything like that, because the closeness of that covenant only applies to us. So like, as we're obedient, as we're disobedient, like you said, if we're disobedient, we fall by the wayside. If we keep them commandments, we are right back in the spot where we're supposed to be. Whereas another race is not given the opportunity to keep those commandments to receive the reward that they could get, as opposed to us.
So you're saying Gen Pop doesn't even have access to that.
Exactly. So like, let's say if that same white person hires those white people because he's racist, right? And then let's say he sprinkles in a few Black people for DEI purposes, right? And then let's say one of those white people takes advantage of he's white, so he thinks he's better, so he don't have to work as hard. And then let's say that DEI hire is working hard. The boss can knock the white guy down to teach him a lesson, bump the Black guy up. But when the white guy gets his stuff back together, he'll put that white guy back up and then put the Black guy back down because he's white first. I'm using white because that's the analogy that we're talking about. I don't care if people go crazy anyway, but that's what we're talking about. So the access to God's covenant, whether we're good or bad, is only accessible by Israelites. Like Chinese people, Africans, Arabs, anybody else, whether they're good or bad, is irrelevant to the covenant. They'll never have access to that covenant. They'll never have access to the blood of Jesus.
But that still falls in line with a kingship, a kingdom. It still falls in line with that.
The kingdom of Israel.
He's not saying because your skin is this color. He's not saying because you have these physical features. He's just saying you simply fall into this lineage, therefore bonus round. Right. So I wouldn't say that's racism. I would say that's a lineage of like a chosen, you were chosen for this.
Chosen to be above, right?
Yeah, but it's not based on, like, I'm looking up the word race, right? It says any one of the groups that humans are often divided into based on physical traits regarded as common among people of shared ancestry, but it's still based on physical traits, right? Also, the fact of dividing people or people being divided into such group categories categorized by race, a group of people sharing a common cultural, geographical, linguistic, or religious origin or background. I mean, it does say descendants of a common ancestor, a group sharing a common lineage, but that's like archaic, right?
Yeah, and that's why I was specific, like with identifying what racism or racist is biblically, as opposed to just us, because I agree with you. When you start talking about us, like people call us Africans, even because of our complexion. Oh, you're African because you look that way. That's what they say. But they won't say an Arab is African, even though Arab has melanated skin. We lump Chinese and Japanese. I don't know how to tell them people apart. So we lump them together by we see
As
any slant
Asian.
in the eyeball. Yeah, the Asians.
It's Asian. But that makes sense because they're still from one continent.
Right, but we lived on that continent of Africa. Like for example, Elon Musk is South African, but nobody would say South. They're gonna say, but he's not a real South African. They'll know that they called him South Africa because he lived on the continent. So
I mean, how long have you could migration is a thing for a reason.
Right.
This is why, because of migration, we have all changed our features.
Right.
Like we have all manipulated it like that. So South Africa could very well, in 100 years, be a bunch with Elon Musk making a bunch of babies. With as many babies as Elon Musk makes, like he actually could populate Africa to the degree that he could turn that entire lineage into that. But you could change that simply due to migration, right? So when another 100 years from now, you could say, oh, they're from South Africa and they look like me, right? And that would make sense because we would understand, we connect the two.
Right.
But it's just, I think when we say somebody's Asian or African or I don't know, what's another one?
Or Arabs or
like Middle East. You'd say Middle Eastern.
Right.
Like it's a common like regional. It's a regional identity based on what we know people have come from before, right? It's just simply a regional identity.
Exactly. I agree 100%. But we'll and this ain't really something I just noticed from like teaching, but I agree with the migration. But when it comes to us, they'll just say we African. They won't recognize that Israel migrated into Africa throughout history, but specifically in 70 AD when Jerusalem fell as a nation, Israel migrated into Europe and into Africa. So we lived in Africa for like almost 1,000 years before the transatlantic slave trade started. So I get why people would use the term African, but when we talk about migrating, just like there's Chinese people in Africa, there's white people in that, there's Arabs, there's all different. It's like a melting pot. I wouldn't say a melting pot like America, but something like it. But just like we can understand the differences in America, you'll say, well, is they white American or black American, Hispanic American? It's the same thing on the continent of Africa. So we're not the same just because we look that way, but humans, the way that they deal with race, that's how they perceive it. That's our perception. Like our perception is that race is going to be if he got a big nose and he dark skin, he black, he African. If he got a thin lip, he's white, or if he's light skinned. Like I gotta be told, like I'm told all the time, I must have some white, I gotta have some white in me because I'm light skinned. When I took my DNA test, it said I'm black. So, but I gotta be told that. And those are things because
where did that DNA show like your originations of your
you can open it. It showed hold on, my daughter giving me some ice real quick. Thank you. I like a couple pieces of ice in my scotch.
Yeah. Do you ever, there's whiskey discs. I have to say this carefully or else it sounds like whiskey dick, but there's whiskey discs. You're drinking scotch, but they're like little, that's serious. I've said it before and it sounded like, they're like, what'd you say?
Right.
But they're actual discs. You put them in the freezer. Because this way you don't water down your scotch or your whiskey, but it chills it just the same, and they're really handy to have around actually. Anyway, so your DNA, but that lineage was able to, I'm assuming, come back from certain pieces, right? What did it say? Like your regional,
I was like 80%. It said I was 80% from the west coast of Africa. Then it had like 20% of a mixture of had like Native Indian, had some European, had stuff like that in there. And according to their, like, I don't really trust the DNA for ancestry like that, but the people that do, they say whatever your paternal line is what you always were. So my paternal line is what came from the black side. So the mixture, that 20% mixture comes from the maternal side. Like even like women, if you was to go get your DNA for ancestry, you wouldn't be able to pull your paternal line because you don't carry the Y chromosome. I think you just carry the X chromosome.
Mhm.
So because I carry the XY, that Y has always been the same from origin.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I learned that because one of my ribs had got a DNA test for their ancestry, and she couldn't pull her father's side. Her brother had to do it to get her father's paternal information.
That's actually phenomenal. I didn't know that.
Yeah, men control everything. We control the gender of the baby. We do. We control the gender of the baby. I learned a couple months ago that the placenta comes from the man. Oh,
hey, just remember, before a man had his balls, a woman had to make them in her womb.
That's right. I love women. I love women. So I'm never going to argue that. I'm just pointing out what we contribute to the making of the baby.
But that lineage still shows like kind of what I'm talking about, right? When we think of race is simply like a general, like a skin color or ethnicity kind of degree. But when you're talking about where you were actually from or whatever, you could pinpoint a general region of where your lineage kind of set from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where your origins were. You just said, like, you can run it up the male Y chromosome, right? You could run it up that direction. So in that instance, I would say that kind of goes more to what I'm saying versus what you're trying to say. Like, because to be a racist would have to really, like, based on today's understanding, right? Based on our understanding of the word, I wouldn't say that God had it that direction. I think he's looking at it as more of like, this is my kingdom. This is, I made a promise, right? You will be above, right? You will be the chosen people because of this promise I had to make. You made the sacrifice early on, so I will always guarantee you this promise.
Right.
But it's not based off of like how we understand racism.
So in Isaiah 40:17, he says, all nations before him are as nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that sound like? So if Israel is his race, and he says all the other races are nothing to him, and this is God we talking about, what would that then be?
Well, but they all jackal up and do stupid stuff and go against him?
Well, no. Well, in this context, he's telling you that
because he had to flood the earth, right? So
well, this is after the flood,
right?
So
but every
afterwards.
nation, but then Noah had to come and reset everything, right? And then from that, and there he chose he chose Shem?
Israel, and he said all the other nations are nothing but be like unto spit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said.
But that's not racism. That is, I'm choosing a kingdom.
Now,
like
Sarah,
I'm choosing the king line.
If a person came out here and said, man, all y'all is nothing but like spit to me. It's only about my people. What would you call him?
Tribalism.
That's cap, Sarah. You would say
it's not. I started my whole conversation with tribalism.
Did start that way, but no, I'm not taking away your tribalism position. I just think that's a cap response. If you heard somebody say all the other nations are nothing, it's just my people, and y'all are like spit to me, I think we would all say that.
But that's nationalism. I think America's the best freaking country here on earth. And if you said, like, would you rather go live anywhere else? I'd say no. I love America, right? I love America. These are my people. This is my place. My place is the best, and I hope we kick everybody else's butt if push comes to shove. Like, we will land on top.
Tribalism. I'm gonna look up the word tribalism. Let me see. Tribalism is a strong loyalty to one's own social group, often creating an us versus them mindset. It helps people feel safe and connected. So I agree with the tribalism that we can have. But if the God that created all the nations, he can't be a tribalist because he don't have a tribe in the sense that he's not an Israelite. He created the Israelites, but he also created the Edomites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites. He created all of them. So out of all the races that he created, he said, all of y'all ain't shit but like spit. They're above you.
But that was because there was a promise made.
It's before the promise was given to Abraham. That's why I read through the verse. It says the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil. If I was to read another verse, like in Ephesians, the 1st chapter, it says, let me grab it. Ephesians 1:4. It says, according as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children. So before we was ever born, he had this grand design. So I agree with the promise. So it's almost like when we see how it plays out, this is the grand design that God had. He's going to choose Israel to be above before they were born, and then we just see the story play out. And so that's what we're reading. We're reading the story break out, but it was created that way from the gate. It was always like that. It was always meant to be like that.
But that's not racism. Again, he's the king, right? You would say, like, God is the king of us. He's in charge, right?
Yeah, he's the God. He's the King of Kings, the ruler of all rulers in heaven and earth. That's correct.
Right. And if I am king and I said to my daughter, I'm going to make you in the next line here, like right below me, above all of the poppers out there and above the Gen Pop and above the whatever's, like, you will be next in line or you will receive this gift of my kingship. Right. Like, I'm saying that that is my lineage, and I'm saying this is what I'm going to do. Right. That's simply me choosing a lineage based on my condition. I'm king. I can pick whoever I want. But it's not racism. Not the way analogy, are we understanding racism the same way that, like, are you like,
I think it's different. The difference that I put, because even in that, the king analogy, he only has power over his tribe. He only has power over what he's trying to identify. The reason why I say God is King of Kings, Lord of Lords in heaven and in earth is because God has the ability to love everybody. He has the ability to set up everybody. The king does not have that power, but God does. And God chose to love one people and hate everybody else, even though he created them. That's where I would see the difference, is because in that analogy, that's where the king's limitation ends, because the king didn't create everybody else. The king, let's take the King of England. The King of England didn't create the Scottish, didn't create the Asians, didn't create the Africans, didn't create the Moors, didn't create the blacks. So he can only be and establish what he has for the King of England. But God that has the King of England, the King of Scots, the Asians, the Africans, the blacks, says, okay, I think I'm going to choose the Asians. I'm going to hate everybody else, and I'm going to just choose them. And then them Asians go out and say, God chose us above all of y'all.
But he chose a bloodline, not a region. There's a difference. And we understand, we just went through your DNA concept that if I said you are African American, right, that would be based on a regional thing. It's not based off of a specific family bloodline. He chose one person's bloodline, made a promise, and boom, everybody that comes from that is in this covenant.
So him saying he hates and created a race to hate makes him what?
It's not racism. Just like I said, hold on.
No, I'm just asking you, what does that make him?
That makes him a father choosing his children that he wants. Just the same, I gave you the example earlier. If my child, I have a daughter, you have a daughter, if they're both hanging off a cliff, I'm going to pull my daughter up first. No offense to yours, right? But I'm pulling mine first. If I still can get your daughter up too, I will. But mine's coming first. That's my bloodline that I made, I created, that I want to make the special thing.
But in that analogy, those two children, God created both children.
Mm-hmm.
And he
I'm
hated.
not.
No. So
Sorry.
like in your analogy, one is my child, one is your child. You're picking your child because that's your child. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
In God's analogy, both of the children are his, and he hates one. He's taking the other. He's making a nation out of that one. So in that's why we only have we have a limitation humanistically, if that's a word. We have a limitation. We have a limitation.
I know words.
We have a limitation in our analogies because my child could never be your child. Your child could never be my child.
Mm-hmm.
But to God, we're all God's children, or we're at least all God's creation.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the creation that he made, he hates some of the things he created, and he loves this creation that he created.
Mm-hmm.
He created him to hate.
That was his plan, though.
I agree.
But it's not based on race. It's just based on
it's the race of Israel or nation of Israel. It is based on race.
It's a lineage.
Lineage, race, tribalism, all those words are the same.
Race, we went through the definition of race and how we understand it today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that definition applies to what you're applying to a prior, in that time. I think God
it does. If he chose a people to be above all people, what would that be?
A lineage. It's a lineage. It's based on, you gave me the whole storyline. That's a lineage you gave me.
Right. I'm gonna broaden it out a little bit. Like Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are not collectively recognized as a single nation or race. But for us, we are all the same. The Israelites are Blacks, Latinos, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, West Indians. We all collectively make up the children of Israel. And that's who God loves. Everybody else, God don't love.
Okay, but are you all of those different people? You come from that lineage?
Yes. God hates a race of people. And we don't consider that race. I don't know what
race.
Wait. So if God hates
Israelites can be Black, Asian, Latina, white.
That's the nation of Israel. No, I didn't say white. I said they could be the nation of Israel are the Blacks, Latinos, Native Indians, and then I named different ones like Seminole Indians, Mexicans, etc. that. That's that nation.
And that's based off of a lineage that makes those specific people part of the Israelites, correct?
Right. And God loves them. And God hates everybody else. God said they're like spit to him.
Mm-hmm.
So now if I go up to the average person and says God hates you, are they going to think that's lineage or are they going to think that's racist?
I don't think it's God hates me because I'm not part of a lineage.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said that lineage includes people of all different races.
Of other different, right? What they call today,
that's
because we
not
were
racism, Captain T.
I don't
okay, if I'm not born from if the King of England is not my daddy, okay, I'm not in that lineage. We could both still have white skin. It's not racism. I was not born of that lineage, correct?
Right. I agree.
It's not racism.
The King of England doesn't have to hate the King of Scots. He doesn't have to hate the Asians, doesn't have to hate the Blacks. I agree. But the God of the Bible does hate nations.
Do you think the King of England could still hate some of his people, not his lineage, but some of his people?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why does the King of England not make John down the street the next in line?
Because he's not of his people. He's not the
lineage. He's not the lineage. It's not allowed. We made this this is a rule.
But God is not a lineage either. Out of the 18 nations, God picked one nation to love, the other nations to hate. So he himself don't have a lineage. There ain't no generation of God.
He chose, you gave me the storyline, Abraham and Sarah, so on and so forth, Jacob, and then it went down from there, right?
Right.
So you're saying this specific lineage went down and built down, and all of those people from, I think, was it is Jacob? You said Jacob, I think.
Jacob's
right.
name was changed to Israel, right?
To Israel. Okay, that's why I was thinking Israel, and then I was like, no, wait, it's Jacob. So Jacob/Israel, everybody that falls under him falls into this category based on this promise. That is a lineage, just the same as the King of England could not put John Smith who lived down the street in his as set him as
But
next.
Could he do it?
No. That's why the rules are made, to keep this very special lineage.
No, but as king, he could do what he want, right? As king, that's what I'm asking you.
I guess you could, if you could say he
just like
change the rules.
About God could do what he wants too, right?
Right. But why? Let me ask you this, based on my tribalism concept. Why would a king want to let anyone else come take over that kingship that doesn't fall within his lineage? This is why we have like transfer of wealth, transfer of estates. Like, am I gonna like do well in life just to pass it on to some random kid that I don't know down the street?
But God is not passing his lineage, because this ain't got nothing to do with him as far as a lineage. God is saying, I'm in charge of all these people that I created. And I'm choosing to hate a people, and I'm choosing to love a people.
Okay.
Because I love this people, I'm doing this for this people. That's what God is doing.
Yeah.
So it's not like a king. A king comes from another king. King comes from another king. King comes from another king. So he's doing what his father taught him. But God is not doing this. God picked Israel to love. God picked Israel to be superior and above all people on the face of the planet, and said all the other people, he don't know them. They're like spit to him. So that's where the difference is. That's what made God a racist. God would be racist. God would be prejudiced. God would be all those things, because he put this people to be above everybody else, and didn't pick them because they were the most, actually picked them because they was the least.
Oh, Lord. I love you so much. All right, here's what I'm going to do, Captain T. I think it's time, because I've run out of things to throw at you. I'm at the point, let's see, open panel, click here. All right, if you are watching out there.
Can you put that link in
yes, absolutely. I'm gonna put it back in the private chat, and you can send it out to your friends.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it to my friends. If you would like to join, I think if you're watching on the vertical side, it doesn't hyperlink links. So you'd have to go over to the horizontal video to be able to access that link. Anyone's welcome to join. Come on, roll on in, get back here, and we'll get you on for the conversation. But I still think you're kind of conflating the terms, right? You're conflating racism and tribalism, even like a lineage. A lineage is a lineage, right? So I'm not sure why you could say it's racism, because race, as we understand it today, is based on like ethnicity or skin color or whatever the case may be.
But that's why I'm not using the racism as we identify it today. I'm using the racism how God identifies it. That's where the separation is. Because I agree that when I was reading definitions earlier, and I was like, I use the term systematic racism because of the things that gets put in place with their form of racism. And I'm separating God from systematic, because God didn't do anything systematically except the way he set the nations up. So that's where the difference is at.
You kill me with this.
I kill you with it. You still here though? You still here?
No, I'm still here. Definitely. This is why I love you. Thank you, backstage, Michael. I see you.
And I put the link in the back to my audience. I put the link. I pinned it to the top. So if anybody want to come on here, and you don't have to agree with me, I actually prefer if you don't agree with me. But you can click that link and join.
Yeah, don't join in if you do just like want to just come up and be like, Captain's right, screw you. I want to hear that, like, I want like the solid, I absolutely disagree.
Right.
You're crazy, Captain, like blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah
that's what
blah
I
blah
want. I want to fight. Like I want to fight. That's what I came here for, to fight.
You like fights.
Yes,
you
I do.
you like fights.
Yes.
I like fights. I like being the referee in fights. I don't like fighting, but I like fights. All right. I am old French says, tell this man he looks Javanese, Chinese, because he is light skinned, just like the Dutch said about
That's 'cause I got
Chinese
these
of
little
Africa.
eyes. Hey, you know a funny story, right? When I in like 95, right, I had went and joined the military. You have to take the ASVAB test so they can determine what your skill set would be in the military. And so when I go to take the test, so I'm gonna act like this is a pen. So when I go to take, so I got these low eyes, right? So when I go to take the test, my eyes is like this, and so I'm reading the paper, and the instructor is saying like, "Hey, no sleeping while you're taking the test." And I said, "I'm not sleeping. It's just the way my eyes are." And he said, "No sleeping." So then I do it again, and I'm reading. He's like, "No," and kicked me out. And so I'm standing outside like, I don't know what the hell to do. And another instructor walked by. He said, "Why are you standing out here?" I said, "He telling me I'm asleep, but I ain't sleep. That's just the way my eyes are. Look, when I do like this." And I got to show them that my eyes are not really sleepy like that. They just low.
Well, okay. So, well, I mean, an eye slant though is, I mean, that could just be if you got chubby cheeks.
Yeah, yeah. But I've always had these low eyes. Like I'll be sitting like this, not like this. I'll be sitting like this, and people think I'm asleep. I'm not asleep. My eyes is open. I can see. I hope
You
that's,
just,
I hope that's a woman.
I just have like little chubby cheeks. Is that
I hope that's a woman. I hope that's a woman and not a man looking in my eyeballs like that.
Ooh.
And you know, and I got hazel brown eyes under here. Like I got light brown eyes under here, but most people don't see them because my eyes are low.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll see them because when I saw you out at the debate, the Sheikh Uthman debate, you came to be an audience member. See, I'm so little, and Captain T is so incredibly tall that I naturally look up. So if your eyes are
took a picture so they could have saw. We should have took a picture.
We'll do one in September. But you're like, if your eyes are slanted down, they'll always look open to me.
Right.
Is my perception. All right. I got a few people backsstage. If anyone else wants to join, now's the time to get back there.
Birdman hands rubbing together.
Birdman flying any weather. On day 3, I'm surprised
you know a little rappity rap. Okay, you know some rap music.
I don't even know why I said that. Like I know the song, but like I don't even know why that kicked out. I mean, I think I was like in 8th grade when it like Birdman flying anyways. But all right, on day 3, I'm surprised Gavin's not jumping on here. On day 3 says there's no way your ideology is still intact after your past 2 debates, bro. Ooh, challenge accepted.
Yeah, he should come on the stage.
He better be getting on stage. Where are you at?
Otherwise, he's a sucker. I'm gonna call him a sucker.
Let's go. Whoever's yip yapping in whoever's yip yapping in the back chat, don't do that. Don't do that.
Wait, you want to go to the back chat now? I gotta see what they.
I hate it when people yip yap it. Like there's a comments tab and then there's a private chat tab. Yeah. That private chat is for logistics only, ding dongs. Okay.
Sam is. I want to talk to Sam though. You should bring Sam.
We are gonna bring Sam on.
Okay, yeah, bring Sam on. He needs some attention,
and the other person, Rabah Izara, like you got to do a quick cam up for me back there. And
That's
Liz, whoever you are back there, your stuff's not connected.
I agree with that cam up because one time somebody came on our live stream and they was not cammed up, and then when they cammed up, it was like some freaky shit. It was like some porn. They put like some porn on there while we was live. I did not like that.
Sam, back there, are you dressed? You back there like laying? Oh, okay. Yeah, you got a shirt on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to see no man's chest.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Sam, you can go back to Avatar if you want to. Michael's good. Everybody back there's good except for Raba and Liz. Y'all need to cam up. All right, Captain. I expected more. I expected.
I think I scared him. Maybe I scared him.
I think you did too. I absolutely
I'm the best.
think you
I try
did
to tell people, man, I'm the best at this.
You
Undefeated.
are. Yes. There's a few other people that said they were going to be here and they're not. Oh, thank you, Raba. I see you. Perfect. All right. You ready for your panel, Captain T? I love you so much. You're my favorite. Here we go.
Thank you.
Hello. Right. That means everybody shut up. Okay. We do this portion is Q&A round robin style. That means everyone besides myself and my special guest, Captain Tazaryach, is going to hit that little mute button on their StreamYard, whether you're on an app or whatever. You just tap that little, just tappity tap that button, tappity tap. Okay. And that means you're going to shut up and let the person who I do grant talking space to talk. And then you will be quiet until it's your turn. We do this on purpose so that we can let people do their cooking and let people have their conversation without interruption. Now, once we move over to the gauntlet, which Captain Tazaryach has confirmed he's got some time tonight to play on the gauntlet, then we can get a little more wild. But in the meantime, this first portion is going to be controlled, and I'm going to be a total bitch about it. All right. Ant first in line back there. Go ahead.
I was?
Yeah, you were.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Not impossible, inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
And improbable.
Yeah, there was a lot of clicks in when as soon as I dropped that link, y'all were waiting for it. So, yep.
This might be quick.
That's what she said.
Hope not.
She was disappointed too if it was quick.
Indeed.
That's not the way to start off a debate, Ant.
I had to.
Yeah,
I had to.
Showing your weaknesses. Yeah.
So we mentioned the flood, or not, sorry, not we. You mentioned the flood earlier. I just wanted to question, what's your interpretation of the flood event?
That it's a real event.
Well, I understand that, but to like what scale and like how I
global.
There's very different. So you think it was a global flood?
Yeah, global. So like most people don't know the flood. So you ever heard of the term Pangea? When they say like all the continents were connected. So the flood is what broke up the continents. Because when
that happened much before.
Like, when you read it, it actually would tell you, does the rain come from above or below in the flood story?
Well, we'll get that. I just wanted to make sure you were
Can you just answer the question,
the literal. I believe it says it comes from both, but I'm going to address that in a minute.
That's the breakup of the continents.
So you would say that the Earth's water went to 22 feet above Mount Everest? Because that's okay. Because that's what's literally said in the Bible. It was like 7 cubits over the tallest peak.
Okay, then yeah, whatever the Bible says, I agree with.
Okay, like I don't know the Bible very well. If I got this wrong, someone else on the panel maybe type in and give me the exact figures. But it's about 22 feet, right, above the highest peak.
Trying to see. It says, well, the length of the cubit. When I'm looking up the cubits,
Yeah.
It says, and this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. I don't see nothing where it says the tallest mountain. Let me see if I look up mountain. Genesis 12:8, and he removed from thence into a mountain on the east of Beth. I don't see, if you got a verse that talks about the mountain,
I can try and search for it. I didn't know this was going to be
I searched
controversial.
mountain and I searched cubits, and I didn't find that.
One moment.
What they got to do with this, with the racism part?
One claim at a time. But all right, I can just.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I didn't grant you the waters. Like I'm not going to argue about like the things, because there's a more immediate problem with having a flood of that scale with that much water, because that's like it's 3.25 times the amount of water that exists on the surface of the planet. So the water's going to, I don't know where you're getting all the extra water for, but even if I grant it to you, we can have a timeline for how this water was delivered. 40 days, 40 nights. Mm-hmm. That is a flow rate of 1,300 cubic kilometers a second.
What is that flow rate based on?
40 days, 40 nights, 3.25 times the water. That's the amount of water.
Let me try to simplify.
22 feet above Mount Everest.
Let me try to simplify for you.
That's the amount of water it's claimed. Like if you take a literal interpretation of the Bible, which I don't recommend.
Wait, but it did say it rained, right? So
it doesn't matter if you split it up. You still have you're still going to get a sum of flow rates that has to total 1,300
the
kilometers
flow
a
rates
second.
would be predicated on the consistency of how they're saying it's raining.
That's what I'm know it's 40 days and 40 nights.
You can have a drizzle of which can consistently flow. It's just a drizzle.
We have a timeline. It's 40 days and 40 nights, and we have a volume.
I'm not talking about the day.
So we already know what the flow rate has to be satisfied.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listening is an art. Just listen to what I'm saying. I'm not disputing the 40 days and 40 nights like you said. I'm asking you, when you say flow rate, a flow rate is like it flowed 10 gallons per minute. That's a flow rate. So if it flowed 10 gallons per minute and it's 60 minutes, we can generate that.
Right.
But when you say the flow rate, of the rain during that time, I don't read a flow rate at that time. What it sounds like you're saying
I'm telling you what the rate of the water has to be. I didn't tell you where it had to come from.
What is that based
because it doesn't
off of?
Hold on. I told you. So if we go by the literal interpretation of the Bible that you say go by, I can find the stuff later for you, but it's going to break up the conversation too much if you demand it now. Will you just grant that it's about 3.25 times the amount of fucking water it's in all the oceans and on the surface, or we're going to argue about that?
No, I'm not going to argue about it.
All right, cool. So that's a volume of water that we can work with, right? And we know the time period over which this water has to be delivered, okay? And that's where the flow rate is derived from. To deliver that much water in that time frame requires that 1,300 cubic kilometers a second. Now, whether it's coming from above and below doesn't matter. It still has to sum to that flow rate to meet that much water in that time frame.
So when I looked it up, it says, no, the Bible does not state a specific numerical flow rate, discharge volume.
No, it didn't say it did. That's not what I said.
What you're saying.
I am going by the descriptions in the Bible, then calculating the volume of water. Using the period of time, I can calculate how fast that water has to be delivered to meet that time frame.
What it says is that it notes that the water rose until the high hills and mountains were covered at least 15 cubits, roughly 22 feet or 6.8 meters. I think that's what
that's what I was saying. Yes.
To. Right.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So we found it. Thank you. I appreciate you looking that up for me.
Well, it's not a Bible verse. It's just saying what it did.
Well, it's derived from the Bible. I'm sorry I couldn't quote the exact passage. I should have had that ready, but I'll find it for you later if it's important.
No.
I just think it's interesting.
I looked it up. I think we're fine where we're at.
All right, cool.
Fine where we're at. Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting problem for a global flood. I would think it's better to just dial it back, because it's more likely that we're talking about regional floods. It just felt like the whole world was flooded because your whole world was just what you saw from one horizon to the other, right?
I would disagree, because like I said, the earth opened up. Like when it says it came from below, I think that the separation of the continents allowed more water.
That happened millions of years before humans existed.
And when people say millions of years, the Earth ain't no more than 20,000 years old.
It's about 4.5 billion years old.
That's
actually.
cap. Why did they find blood in dinosaur bones when blood is supposedly can only last for 5,000 years?
You're talking about like when they find soft tissue. It's very rare, but in some cases it can be preserved for very long periods of time. But it's very specific on very specific conditions.
So they can find, even though they say blood only lasts 5,000 years, you're telling me that it lasts longer than 5,000 years.
In very, very rare specific conditions.
Or maybe they just got it wrong. I had got this book called Evolution Debunked, right? And there was a rock. You know, when lava erupts, it forms rocks, right?
Correct. Well, it's, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Right. So there was a volcano that erupted in Hawaii in like 1953 or something like that. When the rocks formed, they took that rock that they knew formed in 1953, put it in their carbon dating, put it in their evidence, and the date came back.
You don't carbon date lava rocks.
However they did it, I could have the terminology wrong, but however they dated those rocks came back 100,000 years old, 1.5 million, 40 million, even though they knew that rock was created in 1953.
Well, it wasn't created.
You gotta.
That's just when it's pushed up out of the ground.
When it comes to dating, and earlier when me and Sarah was talking about the ancestry, and the same reason I don't trust the ancestry is the reason why I don't trust the dating process, because you can test live data, but when you go back in time, there's only so much that you can accurately time, because you're putting in current data and assuming that the oxygen levels are the same, the carbon levels are the same, that all of these levels are the same. That's exactly what they do.
No, they actually have a number of methods they will use to correlate something to a time using various methods. They might use radiometric dating. They'll look at the layers found in. They use a lot of different methods to date things. It's not just one thing.
I guess can I ask, like, where are we going with this?
I don't know. I was trying to drill him on the
you brought up the
thing,
flood, man. I mean,
well, yeah, I wasn't trying to talk about evolution, though. That was you.
But you got to understand, when you bring up certain things, I universally know a lot of things. So when you talk about certain points, I'm going to add my input on it because I like to talk.
I like to talk too. That's why I appreciate the conversation. I'm not trying to
I like Sarah too, and Sarah's like, man, let's get this shit the fuck on. What we supposed to be talking about.
Thank you for indulging. Thank you for indulging me on the flood. I'm sorry we got distracted on the evolution.
No problem.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ant. And Clay, your thoughts, my darling?
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Captain. I need a partner for a flood debate. And if you want, I'm definitely down, Captain, anytime for that. So on this racism
Hey, wait,
thing,
sidebar on the flood, right? Earlier today when I was doing TikTok, I promise it ain't gonna be long. But earlier, I was on TikTok and somebody brought up the flood, questioning the flood. And then when I brought up the Enuma Elish to show that other cultures have flood stories, they kind of wanted to get off the subject. And that's the proof that it's not like a central or local flood, but a global flood, because the Hindus had a flood story, Egyptians had a flood story, because it was a world earth-wide event. You can go. See, I was quick. You can go ahead.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So with the race thing, though, are you familiar with? And I hope my mic's good today.
Your mic is fine.
I found out what it was. It was like the main thing. But are you familiar with the curse of Ham?
Yes. It's actually not the curse of Ham. It's the curse of Canaan.
Right. So what I'm talking about specifically is the curse of Ham.
There's no curse of. Can you show me curse of Ham in the Bible?
Right. So then you're not familiar with it.
Did he cut out?
Yeah, he
I might have cut out a little bit. So you're not familiar with it.
What I'm saying is you don't know what you're talking about. The Bible.
No, what I'm saying is you're not familiar. I'm asking you if you're familiar with it, but you're not. Clearly, you're not. Otherwise, you'd say no, or it's.
Well, let me try to rephrase it so you can know that I know. I'm gonna assume. The curse of Ham is what most people call it. Most people call it.
No, that's wrong, sir. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
If I could just finish.
But you're not talking. No, you're.
Well,
he's not talking.
Hold on, Clay.
Go ahead.
Maybe
Talk
he
about
is,
something
but
completely different.
Let's see. How do we know, Clay? How do we know?
So
go ahead.
When Noah was drunk, it said, "Cursed be Canaan," is what it says. Ham is the one that showed his father's nakedness, but Canaan is the one that was cursed. So you're not going to show me in the Bible where there's a curse of Ham. What was yours?
All right. So you're not familiar with it at all. Okay. The curse of Ham is something that came from the 15th to the 18th century. Okay. What it was essentially fake Christians. I'm going to call them fake Christians because I can do this at this point in time. Used this thought process. Sorry.
You're back now. It's good.
It keeps bogging down. I apologize.
You just proved my point, though, FYI.
No, stop.
You can't
I'll
tell
let you
me
go.
to stop.
I'll let you go.
Prove my point,
I'll let you go.
Go ahead, Clay.
Right? What these people did in the 15th to the 18th century was they used the logic that you're pointing out is the wrong logic to invent the transatlantic slave trade. Okay? And the reason they did that was so that they could essentially kidnap people on the basis of race. That's how racism started. It didn't start before that. There was no concept of race before that. It was literally tribalism. You're not familiar with this, or you are. If you are familiar with this, then you're using their concept of race in order to justify your own position to become something that you're not. You're not an Israelite, sir. In fact, I would actually be the first to claim that I could be closer to become an Israelite than you because I'm a Jones. It literally means Jehovah's favored ones. My name. Okay? My name literally means Jehovah's favored ones. But that's not true. I'm not an Israelite. I'm just a man. Okay? And what I'm telling you is this concept of race was invented in the 15th to the 18th century. I'm just letting you know.
What is that? Okay, when you say I'm not an Israelite, that's cool. When I looked up Jones, it says, what does Jones mean? It said the surname Jones means son of John. It is a patronymic name of English and Welsh origin. From the medieval personal name John or Jonah combined with possessive. Ultimately, the root name John comes from the Hebrew name Yochanan. So just because you have a last name of Jones don't make you an Israelite. You know, white people stole everything.
John as in John the Baptist.
Douglas's, Stewart's. But it's just a name. A name doesn't make, you know how many people got David as their name, Jesus or Jesus as their name. A name doesn't make you an Israelite.
And neither does not knowing your daddy.
But I know my daddy though. I agree though, not knowing.
But you don't know your bloodline.
Not knowing your daddy does not make
you don't know your bloodline, do you?
But no matter what you say,
your mic sucks, Clay.
Yeah, your mic sucks.
Something's it's like
keeps clipping.
It's I think you were getting too close. It was getting like that fuzzy.
Like for example, does modern
but
day
you don't know your bloodline.
Does modern day Christianity have a white Jesus?
What's that got to do with anything?
Has to do. You brought up.
Does modern day Christianity have a alien Jesus?
Let me answer your question. You said, what does that have to do?
Does it have an alien Jesus?
You just said.
I'm not that kind of Christian, bro. What are you talking about?
You said,
I'm not that kind of Christian. I don't do the cross thing. What are you doing?
Hold on. Let's get the question now.
You're attacking somebody else right now. You're fighting.
Clay,
smoke.
Hold on.
Clay is in his feelings. This is the part I like, Sarah. And this is also why I like Sarah. Best moderator. Sarah, there's this guy, there's this white guy named Ralph. He has a show called Kill Stream.
You're gonna fight somebody else now?
Hold on, Clay. He's talking now.
Go ahead, Cap. Go ahead, Cap.
Look at him in his feelings.
Clay.
I'm trying to give Sarah the greatest compliment I can give her. I know.
I thought it was my time.
Why are you hating on the white woman? Like, why are you hating on the white woman right now?
She's not white. What are you talking about?
No problem. Why are you hating on Sarah?
Yo, Cap is the white knight. We found the white knight. Continue.
As I'm trying to give Sarah a compliment, why are you getting in the way of that?
Seriously, Clay.
Sarah gets all the compliments. So.
There's this gentleman by the name of Ralph of Killstream. I've done a ton of different podcasts. I don't know many moderators as good as him until Sarah.
Fair enough.
So I'm trying to give her a compliment. So now back to you. You said, what does that have to do with anything when I asked you the question, does modern day Christianity have a white Jesus? You made it anecdotal when I said modern day Christianity. I didn't ask you about you. Why is that important? You brought up the curse of Canaan. And I told you I'm sorry, curse of Ham. And I told you that's when people taught that Ham was cursed when it wasn't. And then you said in the 15th century, they used it for the transatlantic slave trade. So the reason why I brought up, which you refused to answer, does modern day Christianity have a white Jesus, which the only answer is yes, is because just because you present something,
but I don't agree with that.
Just because you ain't got to agree with it, it's just true.
No, it's not.
The image that they have of Jesus.
So you're telling me that Christians pray to a white Jesus?
I didn't say
that this is real
about
Christianity.
Listening is an art. You're gonna make me go get my shirt.
So why aren't you listening?
I said, do they have an image? I didn't say nothing about praying. I said, do they have an image? Meaning what Jesus looks
Who is
like.
They?
Modern day Christianity.
I don't know. I always thought it looked like I always thought it kind of had like an Arabic look to it, or
there's
something
there's a group of
there's a group Christian
like
Jesus is white
that
as
I would
shit.
say it actually looks most like. There's a group of people that I would actually say it looks most like they're Mandaeans.
I didn't ask you what it looks like.
The Mandaeans actually.
So like, if I could share my screen.
So if you've ever seen a Mandaean,
one second.
Have you ever seen a Mandaean? Here, let me pull a screen up too.
Slow down. I'm gonna share my image. So I put this image up. If you can,
yeah, I got
Sarah.
you.
Now, these images of Jesus do not match the Bible. And all I did was type in Jesus image. You'll see it in the Google search. That image doesn't match the Bible. That image doesn't match the Bible. I'll stop sharing my screen now. So my point is, having a name does not make you an Israelite. Having an image that you say is Jesus does not make it what it is. It has to be according to the Bible, is my point. So I agree that they used the curse of Ham to enslave black people, but the curse of Ham is not in the Bible.
Is this your porn?
So does this look more like Middle Eastern people?
No.
Or does this look more like black people? Or does this look more like white people here? Like, what is this? Right?
No.
What's this guy? Is that white, black, red, orange, blue? Because that right there is the Mandaeans. They are like as closely to the lineage as you can get, bro.
But that doesn't describe in the Bible what Jesus looked like.
There's closely, as far as what Jesus looked like, they have bronze skin, sir. Those people that I just showed you, they are Mandaeans
that was
from that area. Skin. They live in the Fertile Crescent.
The person that you just showed, the image that you just showed, is not bronze as if it burned in the furnace. It's not a dark-skinned man. He didn't have woolly hair.
It's the closest we've got to the actual lineage, bro.
Now,
they are the oldest lineage closely related to them.
Let's say if I gave you 50% of that argument, modern day Christianity does not present even that image of Christ.
I agree.
And so my point is, having a name does not make you an Israelite. You have to be
having
an Israelite.
A certain type of skin doesn't make you an Israelite.
If you was listening to the conversation and Sarah was talking, I used the argument and I said, Mariah Carey by skin, we would say that's a white woman, but to us, she's black. Bob Marley by skin would be a black person, but to us, he's white.
Now,
we don't go by complexion.
Now understand where race, the idea came from. It was in order to kidnap people during the 15th and 18th century on the basis of their melanin.
I would
skin.
disagree.
That's it. That's it. That's where it came from.
No. And here's why I would disagree with that. Because Africans, now I'm going to use Sarah's word, tribalism, when the transatlantic slave trade started, the tribes in Africa sold the tribes of Israel, same melanin. A white person did not come into the continent of Africa and catch
You're missing the point.
You're missing
Christians,
the point. You make,
slow Christians down, buying them.
My shirt
the Christians
slow
buying
down.
them.
Hold on.
But you got to let me finish. Slow down, Swifty. You can't say that the transatlantic slave trade was based on skin tone.
That's what no. The concept of race.
When you talk as I'm talking,
it's not what I said.
Clay, but
you
you're
are
not even
misquoting me.
Clay,
Stop misquoting me. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Okay, hold on.
Allow him to lie. Go ahead.
Clay, you're at the very least not letting him finish.
But he's lying.
It doesn't matter
about my words.
When I'm on full screen, that means everybody else shuts the fuck up. Okay, Clay, you're not listening to what he's saying. He could be saying incorrectly, but you won't know because you're not letting him finish his statement. So even if you have something to say and you can say you are the most retarded person and that was the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, fine, but at least wait until he finishes dumb thing to be said. Got it? Okay, let's move from there. Captain, back to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. When you say the transatlantic slave trade started because of melanin, or they looked at your melanin, that's just not true, because Africans sold, let's do it like this. Melanated people sold other melanated people. It wasn't based on their skin tone. It was based on their tribes. So the tribes of the Africans sold the tribes of the Israelites. Now, when we got over into America, that's when what you're saying is true. So I agree with you when we got into America. I disagree with you on the concept of who was going to be a slave and who was not going to be a slave. I'll land right there.
Okay. Well, who was involved in the transatlantic slave trade? Was it only Africa, or was it also the Americas and Europe?
It was Europeans, Africans, and Arabs. The Arabs built the ships. The Europeans and the Africans are the one made a deal with each other, and then they caught them and brought them over to as slaves.
Was America involved in the transatlantic slave trade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jewish people too.
What you just said was a absolute ball-faced lie. You were just saying that only the Africans and the Europeans, after you had just said only the Africans. But the Americans also.
Can you say what I lied about again, please?
You lied about.
Hold on. Are we talking about who was traded or who did the trading?
The transatlantic slave trade is a slave trade where merchants were involved in kidnapping human beings, regardless of what melanin or tribe.
But initially,
and they would take those people. They would take those people and sell them across the Atlantic. That's what it refers to.
But when I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but it was only the Africans that were made slaves, correct?
Yeah, it was the black people. But what he initially said was that
they would take
based
Persians
off
too.
Of melanin.
They would take Persians too, because the Persians had melanin that they didn't recognize as white. So you could literally go to like the Middle East or to the Persian areas, the Indian areas, grab those people, bring them through the continents, and then drop them off at the Barbary Coast. Yes. This is history. Okay. This is the true history. Not just Africans were slaves, dude. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. This dude doesn't know history.
All right. Fair enough. I-Fi, welcome back, my love. Are you ready for your debut back here on Mater Nation?
Hello. How's my microphone?
You are high and hot.
Okay, how's this?
Turn it down.
Is this better? Is this better?
Turn it down.
Is this better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So first of all, I don't see color, because if I did, I would have to point out that the most melanated person on the panel is Sarah. And so as far as God being a racist, I do support the theory that since he created language, he probably also created race just to really fuck with people. Because look, y'all are still arguing over this stupid shit. But anyways, as far as hating people for their race, I don't see any evidence of that, because that was actually what the Zionists were arguing with Jesus. And Jesus was like saying like, no, actually, I don't care about race. It's more about your heart and your deeds and your actions, which makes you, blessed or chosen. And so I thought that was the end of the debate, but apparently we're still here debating it. So there's the pros and cons. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think you missed the point. But I do want to highlight, I have the minute marker where Clay said that the transatlantic slave trade was based on your melanin, which is what I was correcting him on. Now, for time's sake, we don't have to play it.
Okay.
But I do have the minute marker, and that's what I was responding to. And it wasn't until I showed that melanated people, Europeans never came on African soil, that he didn't try to switch his argument. To my man, to the guy, is his name Iffy? Is that how you say his name?
I-Fi.
Bill.
I-Fi. Okay, no, I like to get names right because I like when people say Tazaryach correctly. So I just want that for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Tazaryach.
Thank you. So thank you. I turned my share screen off. So now when we talk about the Bible, when we talk about racism in the Bible, it has nothing to do with your heart and your skin and all that stuff. Because as I read, so I'll read this verse to you. I'll read these 3 verses to you. You tell me if it has to do with the heart or if God chose to love and hate one. This is Romans, the 9th chapter. I'm going to read verse 11 through 13. It says, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So was it about their heart, or did God choose to hate one and love one because he wanted to?
This is the hate and love here is more about respect and not more about like hating to destroy or to reject love. And so, and that's more about the birthright to the firstborn son, which, they did a little hoodwink, but that's conflating different topics. That's not about race.
So you're saying it's not about anything but this, right? So let's read. So before I read this, do you know that this is a quote from the Old Testament?
Yeah, I was going to get to that part, but I was waiting until you finished.
So in Malachi 1 and when Malachi 1 and 2, it says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountain and heritage waste for the dragons and for the wilderness. Whereof Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. Is he not destroying or hating Esau outside of the covenant? Yes or no?
Yeah, that's more about lineage. I agree.
That has nothing to do with lineage. Again, the children were not yet born. He picked one to love and hate before they were born, correct?
So then after they're born, they inherit either the blessing or the curse.
I just need you to answer my question first.
Okay,
I don't mind
sorry,
you expounding.
Sorry.
Before they were born, he picked one to love and hate before they were born, correct?
Mm-hmm. Predetermined.
Because he chose to, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then after they were born, we see it play out where Jacob gets the covenant, Esau does not get the covenant, right?
Yep.
And then we still see in Malachi where the Lord said he's going to destroy Esau, correct?
In so many terms, yes. Mm-hmm.
So you can't make it about just the covenant, because even after the covenant was established with Jacob, he still said, I'm going to destroy Esau, correct?
So are you asserting that they are different races? Is that where we're going with this point?
Yes. Well, Israel is a different race than Edomites, just like Israel is a different race than Moabites, Jebusites, Canaanites, Hamites. He's a different race they're different races than all of them. We're not one race of people in the Bible.
Would you say that one father can give birth to different races?
Yes. Noah is an example of that. Ham, Shem, and Japheth are examples of that, because Noah.
Then I don't understand what you mean by race. Like, what do you define as race?
So race is a modern term. If I'm the biblical narrative, I would say nations. Like in Genesis 10 and 32, when he runs down the different nations that Ham created, Shem created, Japheth created, in verse 32, it says, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth. So the nations, if you want to, instead of using race, nations
Yeah, you've completely lost me, because now you've gone away from father's DNA to nationality, which is even less important when we're talking about race.
Well, how do you, isn't a nation and a race the same thing?
No, oh no, oh heavens no. The United States of America is a nation. Would you say it's a race?
I would say we're a divided nation. I would not say we're a nation.
No, you can't play that game. Okay,
I can't play
how about
that game. Here's where I'm gonna marry.
Pick any country: Britain, Dubai, Spain, Mexico. Just pick a nation.
Are there indigenous people in America?
There used to be. We wiped out most of them. So
no problem. So with the indigenous people, they would be the real Americans, right?
They got here first, but yeah, sure. Okay, they're
that's
OG
what I mean.
Americans.
They would be right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the United States of America is not one race of people. It's many different races. You're talking about a landmass. What I'm talking about is more tribal. So I'm trying to use words that are in the Bible that you would understand.
Do tribes define a race?
You said what?
Do tribes define a race?
Yeah. So when those nations when the Hamites created the Egyptians, the Canaanites, the Ethiopians, those are different nations, correct?
I'm trying to follow any definition. Is tribe a race? You said yes. So like, if an African tribe full of black people took on some white slaves and then they banged their white slaves and produced Oreos, are they still different races, or are they now one race because they're all in the same tribe?
It would depend. It would depend, because if the men are sleeping, in your analogy, the Africans taking white people. If the men are sleeping with the white women, those children would still be African because they carry the seed of their father. If the women are sleeping with the white men, if the African women are sleeping with the white men, then those children would be white because you are the seed of your father.
And the reason why I ask you is because if you're going to use your definition to be like DNA, for example, can't we just solve this whole debate by checking your DNA to see what your race is?
I didn't
Wouldn't
say
that be the
anything
final
about
answer?
DNA. I didn't say anything about DNA.
That's why I can't get a definition out of you. You said nation, then you said tribe.
Well, remember, we're talking about the Bible, and you didn't like the word, all right, and you didn't like the word race, and you try to make it seem like we all come from the same.
The problem is the Bible doesn't say race.
The Bible, and I said the Bible says nation. So
right, I agree.
So God created different nations. So Ham, Shem, and Japheth became nations that God divided, correct? Okay, so the Bible will use nation. Today we would use race.
No, false. That's why I just proved you wrong.
No, that's
many
not.
times now.
Okay, how many times? Where did you prove me wrong?
I will give you the easiest example. Here's one where you can easily win. Would you agree that the nation of Israel is one race?
Yes. One nation, one
okay,
race,
so are you talking about Ashkenazi? Are you talking about
those are imposters? Those are not the real. They're not the real.
Oh, see, so now how do you get to define which race qualifies and which one doesn't?
You see how you said Ashkenazi?
Are they Jews or not?
You see how you said Ashkenazi, right?
Yes, yes.
Ashkenazis are Japhetic. They're not even Shemitic. Ashkenaz is one of the sons of Japheth. So when they say I'm listening.
Do they not represent the nation of Israel as you know it today? Yes or no?
They represent the nation of the Israelis. That's why they call themselves Jewish. They don't even follow the Bible. They say you're a Jew by your mother, and that's not in the Bible. The Bible says you're an Israelite by your father.
I was trying to help you out here. I'm trying to like steel man your side for you.
You have not done anything yet to make.
So the best example you're ever going to be able to come up with is probably like about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. If we could get in a time machine and go back to Israel around then, where they were so pure blooded, they wouldn't mix with any other neighboring nations or tribes or whatever. And so
if you go back 3,000, if you go back 3,000, 4,000 years, do you know who was Joseph's wife an Israelite? or non-Israelite?
He was more Israelite than like BB,
I didn't ask you
not
about
Yahoo.
I
or something
didn't
like that.
ask you. Listening is an art. I didn't ask you about Joseph.
So is trolling.
I said, was his wife an Israelite or not?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right.
That you can inform me.
His wife was an Egyptian, but yet those children that he had, Ephraim and Manasseh, are the Israelites that would create the tribes of Israel. So even 3,000 years ago, for the men of Israel or the men of Jacob to establish the Israelites, they slept with non-Israelite women. If you're gonna troll,
there's your whole argument. It's gone now.
If you're gonna troll, at least troll good. You're a horrible troll.
I just destroyed your entire argument, so I think I'm doing pretty good.
My argument tonight is that God is a racist. What you're arguing with me about is how you identify an Israelite. You're not even arguing the point. You're a horrible troll.
I was trying to help you at least provide a definition to argue with, and so since you couldn't provide me one,
my argument is that God made Israel above all races on the earth, above all nations on the earth. I'm gonna read it again. This is Deuteronomy 7:6. It says, "But thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people on the face of the earth." So did God say he chose Israel to be above all people? Yes or no?
In that time and context.
So you can't tell me that's false. You said that was false.
Do you know what time and context means?
That time stands forever. Did Christ say he was about all nations or the lost sheep of the house of Israel?
Christ said, "It is finished" on the cross, referring to the Old Testament that you keep trying to drum up.
Did Christ say he was about the lost sheep of the house of Israel or all nations?
In your defense, he did also say, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." So that's what we're seeing here.
At least troll on subject, man. Can you answer the question? Did Jesus Christ say he was for the lost sheep?
I just quoted our Lord and Savior. You weren't
Forgive them,
listening
Father.
is an art, by the way.
What's crazy? Here's what's crazy about your "forgive them, Father" statement. Your "forgive them, Father" statement is after the Jews are saying to unalive him. So when he said "forgive them, Father," he's saying forgive the Jews. He's not even saying forgive everybody. So even in that, it's terrible. That's why I said
why would he ask forgiveness for the chosen people above all?
Because he came to redeem them.
Why do the chosen people above all need redemption?
Because they broke the covenant. Did any other nation have the covenant of God? Wait. Come on. Did any other nation have the covenant of God?
Is this the same covenant that Jesus said is finished on the cross?
Man. You're dumb.
I answered your question twice now. You're still not listening.
Men I've ever had a conversation with, even as you try to troll.
Listening is an art.
This sounds like a good one to put a pin in. Like that?
Yep. I think we done enough damage for one night, Sarah.
Sarah.
By the way, thank you, Captain, for your feedback. I learned a lot tonight.
You learned
thank you for
absolutely
sharing.
Nothing.
You've been learned, I-Fi. All right, let's move on to Sam. Sam, welcome, my friend. Thank you for your patience. Everyone on the bottom row, I know it takes a long time to get through this, but it's valuable that we let everyone get through their talking points. All right, Sam, to you, sir.
Hello. So, can you get me back up to speed
That's
here?
That's your real voice? That's your real voice?
Yeah.
Did you just say get you back up to speed?
Get you back up to speed.
Yeah.
Get me back up to speed.
All right, here's how to not be a good panelist.
Hey, what if that was serious? Sarah, what if that was serious?
No, get me back
Are you
up
sure?
to speed. No,
he had a cleft lip, though. He had a cleft lip and a weird look in one of his eyes.
Fuck, I don't give a fuck. We do not start with, can you... This is, shout out to the Powder Dusty because he did the 8 rules of how to be a shitty panelist. And one of those rules, number 1, is do not go up onto a panel.
Put a shirt on?
Yeah, put a shirt on. Come on, for fuck's sake, man.
Hey, Cap, that guy's a big fan of yours because he came last time you were here with his shirt off, and he came back now with you. He's never been here before.
He must like you, Captain T.
He's never been here before. Maybe he's a part of your. He's a part of your crew.
Get a shirt on, and I'll bring you back up. But Captain T. But like, one of the rules is do not jump onto a panel and say, "What are we talking about, guys? Can you catch me up? What's going on?" We don't do that here. We
I think he was
time
serious.
for that shit. Yeah, well, that's a problem. All right, let's move on to. Is it Rabba?
Rabbi Israel. How you doing tonight?
What you got for us, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I've been listening to the guys talking to Captain Tazaryach and trying to let him know that him adopting a black supremacy Bible doctrine is just crazy because that's not what Christ taught. So you traded in a white supremacy, Bible doctrine to a black supremacy Bible doctrine. It's not what Christ taught. And I don't know why, you know what I'm saying, you would say in one sense that Africans sold the children of Israel. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. How can you even determine that? You can't even determine that, brother. That's not even common sense, brother.
Okay.
You say things that's not based on reasoning or common sense.
Right, but before we get to a lot of different points, right? You said I was a black supremacist. I disagree with you. I'm not a black supremacist. Can you tell me how I'm a black supremacist?
That's what you're teaching. Black supremacy ideology.
Show me.
That's how you have used. That's what you're using the Bible to teach. Black supremacy ideology. You're not a black supremacy, brother.
Hold on. Because I did ask Captain Tazaryach earlier. He said the Israelites can be it was Mexican, African, Cuban, like you laid all these. Well, you laid down ethnicities, right? But so he's saying that it's the chosen people that are special, right? Not black people. So let's
so it's not just black people.
There.
So when you say I'm a black supremacist, if I accept Mexicans, am I a black supremacist still?
You still trying to come with a black supremacy ideology. When you have John 3:16 in your Bible, whosoever believes, brother. If you're a believer, we have moved past all that racist shit you try to put down.
I got you.
You need to grow up, brother.
Before we get to
and stop with all that racist bullshit, because that's not what Jesus teaches us.
Okay, no problem. But if you confident in what you're saying, we don't have to be all over the place. We could do it point for point. So when I look up black supremacists, it says black supremacy or black supremacism is a racial ideology asserting that black people are superior to other people of other races. It typically emerges as a reaction to systemic white supremacy. So when I say I'm not a white supremacist, because Taino Indians or Puerto Ricans are my brothers, Mexicans are my brothers, Cubans, Seminole Indians, Native Indians, Guatemalans, Panamanians. There's a tons of different ethnicities that people today don't call black that are my brothers. So I reject the notion of being a black supremacist.
So all those people are your brothers. Who in your Bible buried Abraham?
Who in the Bible buried Abraham? I would have to read. Yeah. I'm not sure.
You're not sure who buried Abraham?
No, I would have.
You don't know who buried Abraham?
No.
In your Bible?
No, I don't.
Come on, bro. Really?
I don't know who buried Abraham.
And you believe in the Bible and you don't know who buried Abraham?
I don't know. I don't know who buried him. It says,
I want you to look.
It said.
I want you to look that up.
I did. It said his son Isaac and Ishmael buried him. So
his son Isaac and Ishmael. And where did Isaac go live at? He went and lived at. He took his tribe to where Ishmael and Hagar found the well. He went to the well where that's where he lived at.
Okay, but what's the point that you're making?
You don't get it, right, brother? You don't get it.
I'm asking you what's
that Ishmael and Isaac were brothers.
Ishmael and
like
Isaac.
Onto your brother.
No
So
problem.
you know,
If you wanna
Muslims
say-
and
if you wanna
Jews and
say-
Christians, they're your brothers.
But I need you to
You
kind of
supposed
focus.
to treat them
No
like your
problem.
brothers.
Hold on.
Come
you
on,
got
man.
to play.
No,
You're
I
not
like the way I like the way he's going so
all
far.
that black supremacy, you
Wait,
know,
but you
Bible
gotta-
I
doctrine.
know.
Come on,
but he's
man.
still
Grow up.
talking.
But at some point, Rabbi, if I name other nations that are not black, you have to at least stop calling me a black supremacist. It doesn't fit the narrative. You're gonna show how unintelligent and lack of listening you have. If I'm telling you the other nations that are my people and my brothers, you can't call me a black supremacist. And just because Isaac and Ishmael are fleshly brothers, as I was talking to Sarah earlier, I said Abraham had 8 sons total. They are brothers of the flesh. But God said Abraham's only seed is Isaac. So did God separate the other sons from Abraham? Yes or no?
So in your Bible, does it list the genealogy of Ishmael?
Can you answer my question first, brother?
No. Does
So
it
God
does
didn't-
in your Bible does it list the genealogy of Ishmael?
I just want to get on the record that you're saying
I'm just
that-
asking a question,
Wait,
brother. Does it list the genealogy of Ishmael?
Hold on. What was the question again,
The
Captain?
question is, on the record, you're saying that God did not separate the other sons from Abraham. That's what you're saying, right?
Which that was a
On
really
the
big
record.
piece of the lineage.
On the record, John 3:16 says,
Why are we talking about John
whosoever
3:16?
believes,
I'm
brother.
asking you about Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael. I'm
Yeah.
asking
Okay,
you.
so
Here's what. Let
so-
me just repeat. Listen, Rabbi, I'm really trying. I want you to get the question.
whosoever believes, brother.
Abraham had 8
You're not
sons.
special, brother.
Abraham had 8 sons. Did God separate those sons and say only Isaac is his son? Yes or no?
I'm not familiar with that in the Bible.
Okay,
Where's
so
that
I'm
in
gonna
the
read this.
Bible?
Got you. So this is Genesis. This is Genesis 21:12. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight. Now, this is when Sarah is kicking Ishmael out. Abraham is unsure about doing it. This is God's response. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of the bondwoman. And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And then in the very next chapter, Genesis, the 22nd chapter, God told Abraham to take thine son, thine only son, Isaac. So even though Abraham had 8 sons of the flesh, God only recognized Isaac as his son. So on the subject of his God is a racist, it's not me that separated Ishmael, Midan, and the other sons of Abraham from God, from him. God separated those sons from him, correct?
So I think you have like a racist interpretation of the Bible that you try to articulate, which is not based on what's really written in the Bible. So you're really not following Bible. You know, you're following your own made up interpretation of doctrine. You know what I'm saying? You have created your own doctrine, which is a great sin that you're committing. And I wish you try to come away from that because, you know, on the day of judgment, brother, you're going to wish you never told these lies on God.
All right. Well, that sounds like a wrap up of that claim if we're not proposing any more arguments aside from your doctrine sucks. So let's go ahead and move on to Shaman. The Shaman came dressed and ready for this.
So,
What's up, Cap?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, this is great so far.
Yeah,
we got, you know,
I mean,
you're attracting the
it's
best of them.
Very entertaining.
we got dudes showing off like you're Ronaldo with no shirt on and shit. Okay. What was that all about?
He came sexy
Twice.
for you. He
Twice.
came in all sexy.
There's like having fans, and then there's like different things. You know, we got to watch out for certain things. So the world's not safe. Listen, on the thing we're talking about just now, but I want to get back to the actual prompt. You know, but to clarify this thing, the Hebrew word, that's why I'm dressed. That's why I'm wearing this right now. Is zera, which means seed and offspring, right? So an offspring doesn't necessarily dictate anything other than a lineage, which you can use tribe, right? Tribe is a common word from those times till this time that actually means the same thing. whereas nations change. You know, a nation would be a kingdom easily, but a nation can also now just be a series of people. But anyway, I wanted to ask you about so and then with what Clay said real quick, the race situation, right? There's no Hebrew word for race. So there's no biblical Hebrew word for race. Race as like skin color, which we all now, when we hear race, all of us on earth, we think skin, but that shit started in the 1600s, Cap. I think that's what you said. And in the 1800s, when they started the slave trade, they created whole new sciences like phrenology to determine like we're actually different. Like look at these Africans with big cheekbones,
Right.
and look
Thick
at us white
skin,
Europeans and shit.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
All that stuff came from that, right?
Yeah, so that's all. That's like we should all collectively like realize that this was a European invention to keep everyone looking different. But then when we go into like, so as far as like Israel, right, from your perspective, like you said, it's like a nation, but then the peoples. So they differ from Egyptians and Moabites or anyone else at Canaanites, for example. They're different.
Right.
All right. Mm-hmm. But someone could be a Canaanite and still be Semitic, but you're saying they're just different because of the lineage.
They could be a Canaanite, meaning living in the land of Canaan, but still be a different race. Like Joseph, when he went into Egypt as a slave, he was an Israelite, even though he was living in Egypt, as an example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then who did Joseph marry?
Asenath, which was an Egyptian woman. That's what I was trying to explain to the person earlier. When he was making the reference about Africans sleeping with white people, those kids would still be white because they would be the seed of their father.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's because that's the promise that El Shaddai made to Abraham in Genesis 12:3 is specifically talking about his seeds, which is used his nations, because the words being used for nations is goy, right? And then we have like gadosh, which is people. So like Goy Gadosh is holy nation and I'm Gadosh. It's always referring to nations. So in Genesis 12:3, I understand there's like different translations, but the Hebrew to English is saying to him will have a great seeds. And thus his name is Abraham, means father of nations, right? So it's the father of nations. And so if we keep going down, when you refer to Ephraim and Manasseh, they were from a different, but they were a part of that nation, right? Because they were blessed by Isaac.
But don't make it just about Joseph. You got to broaden that. All the sons of Israel slept with non-Israelite women because they had to produce the Israelites. So Joseph, there's no Israelite woman for Joseph to sleep with.
I mean, he was the second most powerful man in Egypt. He could have imported some if he was serious.
What? No. Listening is an art. The sons of Jacob is the first man credited with the name Israelite. His name was changed from Jacob to Israel.
Yep.
Then he has the sons.
Mm-hmm.
Those sons are not going to have incest and sleep with their sister. Dinah is the only Israelite woman born. So they would have to have slept with women that would not be Israelites to then produce the Israelites.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know. I don't understand the argument here. This further substantiates my point that you're the seed of your father.
I don't think so.
If any man, no matter what their race is, sleeps with any woman, the child is the race of that man. The man carries the X and Y chromosome. The woman receives seed.
That's my point. It's not race. They would join that nation or that tribe. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say very clearly is there is no race involved in the Hebrew Bible. It's nations, it's offsprings, it's seeds.
Nations or tribes.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And God doesn't love any other nation except Israel.
Yes, but people join it from different races. That's what I'm trying to say.
No,
Isaiah 56.
I don't understand what that means.
Isaiah 56 chapter
about the sons of the stranger, right?
Yeah, joining the nation.
The son of the stranger is me. I'm the son of the stranger because I'm not in Israel. I'm in America. Identity taken away. I wake up to my identity. Now I'm the stranger that gets to come back because the prophecy is not about non-Israelites coming back. The prophecy is about Israelites coming back. In James 1:1, it says to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, correct?
Yeah, but we don't need to go to New Testament. We can stay Old Testament.
Okay. Well, the Israelites prophesied to be scattered In Deuteronomy, I think the 30. Okay, in Deuteronomy the 30th chapter,
course.
he says he's going to scatter us into other nations, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't follow with the point. You're moving this.
It follows everything, because in Deuteronomy 30:3 it says, "Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God have scattered thee." So if he scattered us, no matter where he scattered the children of Israel, it's prophesied to gather those children back, right?
Yeah, of course.
So where's the prophecy to gather non-Israelites back?
No, you're missing my point. What I'm trying to say is you're not everything you said is true, of course, but that does not prove race. That proves a nation, which means a tribe. If I go, I'm Pashtun. Any tribe today or in the time of Abraham, if they go meet a woman, let's say they go over to Asia and pick up a Vietnamese girl and bring them back to that tribe in the lands of Canaan, when they get married, she joins that tribe spiritually. That's what happens when Moses marries an Egyptian. She joins that tribe spiritually. They're covenant with the Most High, and those seeds are born into that because of the Father. We're not even arguing. So I don't understand how you're saying I'm wrong.
Because you said in Isaiah 56 that stranger is a non-Israelite. And
if they join the tribe.
There's nothing in the Bible that says if they join a tribe, they're an Israelite. Nothing.
Join the tribe. Hold on. So join the tribe by taking the covenant, right? By getting circumcised, correct?
You can be circumcised and you'll be treated fairly. Like in Leviticus, I think the 19th chapter, when a non-Israelite comes amongst us, we treat him like a brother. But even within that, you can charge him usury. You can sell him an animal that died of itself. You cannot do that to an Israelite, because there's a difference between a non-Israelite and an Israelite. Because as long as the non-Israelite is living amongst us, they're under our rules and code. But if they move from amongst us, they're no longer under that. Whereas an Israelite is under the laws of God no matter where they are at. Correct?
All right.
Is that true statement?
I'm agreeing with, yes, I'm not making that
so
argument.
I got to follow it before you respond. So if the Israelite have to keep the commandments of God no matter where he's at, but the non-Israelite does not, there's never a prophecy for the non-Israelite to come back, because he's not under the rules of an Israelite.
Of course. But what I'm trying to say, no, I didn't. I'm agreeing with your point. The whole point. My point is to add to what you just said is one sentence. The Hebrew people were freed from the grasp of Moses. They became Israelites when they took the covenant. That's how Israelites became a group of people that were Hebrew, and there were others, and they took that covenant. So if it was a Hebrew person in Asia fucking around in China, they're not an Israelite because they hadn't taken the covenant. So in Exodus chapter 12, 48 and 49, it describes how someone would take the covenant, accepting the Most High, going with the laws, getting circumcised. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm just only making one point. Is that they join the tribe, as you're using the word race, and I'm saying it's throwing everyone off, because race at that time is different than we look at it now. It's tribe, it's nation, and I agree with everything else you're saying, other than that one point.
In Exodus 12, there's a stranger that can't keep the Passover, and there's a stranger that can keep the Passover. You're aware
exactly,
of that, right?
100%. That's my point.
The stranger that can keep the Passover is an Israelite. The stranger that cannot keep the Passover is a non-Israelite. Why?
Exactly.
Because there's a difference.
Yeah, you know what the difference is? It says it right there in the passage, if we read it. The ones who take a covenant with Yahweh,
even if they take the covenant. So if a Moabite wants
let me just finish this. Let me finish the sentence.
No problem.
It's not about a specific nation. What I'm trying to say is, of those people in Exodus chapter 12 that you describe and we're mentioning, the ones that decide, not forced, decide to join the Passover, meaning to join the tribe at the moment when Passover, when they were released, right? To join the tribe, they must accept the Most High, accept the covenant through the worship of God, get circumcised and obey the Passover and all the holidays. And those who don't join. That's called joining the fucking tribe.
Now, Exodus 12 and 19, a strange. No,
we said 48.
I said there's two strangers in the verse. You got 43 and 48. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover thereof, no stranger shall eat thereof. Verse 48.
Exactly.
And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, can an Israelite be a stranger?
But they're not an Israelite till they take the covenant. That's what I'm saying. The answer is no.
An Israelite cannot be a stranger. Is that your position?
Well, in the reference of speaking to God, it would be close to God. I understand the context you're saying, right?
Can an Israelite
you're basically
be a stranger, yes or no?
Stranger to who?
To another Israelite.
Sure, I can be a stranger to another.
Because in Leviticus, the 25th chapter, it says an Israelite, though he be a stranger or sojourner. You know why it's saying stranger, sojourner? This is what people think. People think that back then, everybody knew everybody. So if an Israelite is in the land of Judah and he travels to the land of Reuben, they just assume that they know he's an Israelite. And that's just
they would
not
check
the case.
They would check the circumcision.
When you travel from one city to another city, everybody's not going to know you. The reason why I'm able to move around in Las Vegas is because I have brothers out there. But if I didn't have brothers out there, I would go to Vegas and I would be a stranger. Even though I'm a black man going to meet other black people, I would be a stranger.
Cap, I love listening to you talk, but you're gonna get me. I'm gonna start listening to you and not thinking about a response, and then I'm not gonna track. Yes, but what we're talking about in this reference to this is a stranger to God, which means that if you turn around and not know, I know you agree. We're not disagreeing. I'm jumping in the exact point.
But a non-Israelite will always be a stranger to God.
That's no such thing, because a non-Israelite is someone who didn't take the covenant. They become an Israelite when they took the covenant. A
non-Israelite can't take the covenant. He's not a non-Israelite is not beholden to the same thing as an Israelite.
Of course.
He's coming in as a second and third class citizen. If a non-Israelite could take a hold of the covenant, then whether they're in the land of Israel or not in the land of Israel, they would have to keep to the law. But that's just not true. Psalms 147, 19 and 20 says, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments. He have not dealt so with any other nation.
Cap, I agree with you. My brother, I'm trying to explain one thing. Look, the Hebrew people that took the covenant to know God, right? They're become the Israelite. So in those days, when someone marries an Egyptian, as we described, they have to take the covenant. If it's a man, he has any foreigner had to take the covenant, becomes an Israel. Yes, that. What do you mean? No, then all the wives are Israelites.
It's actually unlawful. When you read the book of Nehemiah and Ezra, what did they do with those women and children?
But that's moving the goalposts.
It's not. You just said
yes, it is. Who's Samson's wife?
You just said when they married the Egyptian woman in reference to Joseph marrying Asenath, which is an Egyptian woman.
Yes.
And you made it seem as if they take hold of some covenant. Moses' wife didn't take hold of a covenant.
She didn't? Yes, she did.
Moses' wife actually called him a bloody man because she did not want to circumcise their son.
At the beginning.
In the book of Nehemiah, they kicked the women and children and cut them off.
But that has nothing to do with my point.
Your point is to make it seem like if you have a child with a non-Israelite woman, the non-Israelite woman gets a part of the covenant. And I'm showing you that they don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's not what I'm talking about. She is not a non-Israelite woman when she takes the covenent. She's an Israelite.
Show me where Asenath took the covenant of Israelite.
Who?
Asenath, Joseph's wife.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Moses' wife.
Show me where Moses' wife took the covenant.
No. Well, first of all, Moses is.
We're becoming circular and stagnant in this.
I mean, it's good stuff, but
it's good. But we're getting to we're just repeating kind of the same talking points, and then still not agreeing.
Don't take that shit off your head, man.
Yeah. What? And then what? Show that I have better braids than you on right now?
You don't even have braids. What are you talking about?
I braided it myself.
Your shit does not look better than mine.
I braided it my. Well, you're not wearing the Hebrew. Hold on, that's because I'm wearing this shit.
Look at the intricacy of that design.
Yeah, but mine was better before. Mine was better before I put on my Hebrew stuff.
This conversation is gay,
man.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, my bad.
And before I move on, I will read super chats here shortly. But before I actually, no, Shaman is the end point.
Hey man, can
actually.
I get some super chats on my channel, man? Goddamn. Well, go ahead,
I know
Sarah.
they're running slow. Actually,
Yeah,
Shaman
man.
was the last one up because Spin was the next add-on. So we should actually just maneuver into Gauntlet mode. But see, I could be a total bitch right now and say that my chat didn't come anywhere near the goal, and
That's
I
crazy.
could just shut it down right now, Captain. But I think you're ready to have some more fun. But do they deserve the fun, Captain?
Nope.
I don't know if they deserve the fun. So in the meantime, I'm going to read some super chats. We'll respond, and maybe just maybe the chat will unfuck itself, and then we can move over to the gauntlet. All right. Iotin comes in with the Big 10 and asks, Captain, if someone tells you they are of the nation of Israel, how do you verify that claim? Like, how do you prove that on paper? It's a good question.
So what we do is we usually trace their lineage. So we do it spiritually, prophetically, and then we ask them to trace their lineage. That's how we do it. That's how I did it. That's how all of us do it. So we don't just let somebody in because they look black. We actually ask them like who their father is, and we see how far back they can go with their lineage, and then we do it that way.
Oh, Azrael, I think you're on the wrong mic. So okay,
that
but
white man smoking cigarettes on camera, boy. You better be careful, man.
So
Surgeon General's warning say it causes cancer.
People cause cancer. But
I'm the cure for cancer.
Don't worry, it's a 50-50.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the guy with the glasses. I wasn't even talking about you.
Don't worry, you piece of shit. I'm coming for you.
Listen, I know you ready. He is ready. That's who listen, I can't wait to talk to him, but go ahead.
But with the lineage tracing, like you actually have a person to trace back to, or
yeah. So we do it prophetically and spiritually. That's how we do it. Like the Bible says, strive not after genealogy, so we don't go too far. But that's how we do it.
So
I'm pretty good at it. Like one time this African tried to come into the school. We ended up throwing him down the stairs. I think I tell a story almost every time.
Throwing him down the stairs?
Yeah, I picked his ass up.
So I don't understand how you trace your lineage. Are you from Africa? Do you have direct descendants and roots to Africa where the Christian...
I hate Africans, so no, I don't want to be from Africa.
So how did your ancestors get here, and how do you trace it back to
coming from the
Africa,
continent of
where
coming
Christianity
from the
started?
When we first came over here, we actually knew who we were. Even if you look at the names of slaves, you'll see that they had Israelite names. So we knew.
No, we didn't track that. In America, we did not track you guys.
I don't know what you like.
Because we didn't care.
Don't say that. But we didn't track you guys.
No,
we bought
don't
we
do
bought
that.
most
I
of you
like
from the
when they
homie
come
tribe.
off mic and say that because they show how racist they are too. You see how he said because they didn't care? He said we didn't. He didn't even say they didn't care, and I'm cool with that.
But yeah,
But
that's
when you
not
look at anybody can go to websites and look up the names of the slaves, and you'll see that they had Yah at the end of their names. You
No,
can even
so
get.
we got most of
you
you
can't
guys from the
interrupt me while
Dahomey
I'm
tribe.
talking, and then that lets me know you're not hearing shit I say.
I hear you.
You have
I've
to
heard-
shut
I've
the
heard you.
fuck up.
I've
Shut
seen
the
you
fuck up.
before.
You should shut the fuck up then.
yeah, he
You
was
can't
talking.
talk while I'm talking.
Go ahead,
So
Captain.
when you go on websites, you'll see that they had Yah at the end of their names. You can also see on ancient maps where it would say land of Judah in the west coast of Africa where they were selling us. I can't help it if you don't know that bit of history. I always use Harriet Tubman as an example because they knew in the Ashanti tribe that they were the Israelites in the Ashanti tribe as well. We have family from her lineage in our school that carry that same tradition.
Yeah, that's revisionist history. We got most of you guys from the Dahomey tribe. We actually bought you guys from Africans.
The
and then
Dahomey
brought you
tribe
here,
is the ones
and we
that
didn't
was
actually
catching us.
track your guys' names. And as a matter of fact, they renamed almost every slave. This is like common history.
What were their name before they renamed them?
we didn't track it. That's the thing.
That's a lie. You can look up
Speaking of tracking, if you are tracking over on the Raging Tomato on YouTube, we are going to raid you over to the Gauntlet. That's the next channel we go to because this is where shit gets wild, as you can already tell. So what's going to happen if you are watching on the Raging Tomato, either the mods will drop the link in the chat to head over to the Gauntlet, or you can catch the raid on over once I close it, or you can be a smart person and just type in the Gauntlet and it should take you there, or at the Gauntlet Debate. That is the handle, at the Gauntlet Debate. That's where you can go. All right, I'm going to start shutting that stuff down now, but Ezra, I'll let you pick up where you left off from there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we never track that. You can look at any kind of record you want. You can go ahead and link it in the chat. I can look over it if you would like, but I've never seen any record that tracked any kind of name from Africa into America. We bought most